Good morning, guys. Sorry, a little bit of a long intro, and I told you guys I wouldn't do that, but I'm getting better. I promise. I will do better. Happy Saturday. How is everybody doing? I'll warn you right now. It's going to be a bit short. I hope to not go over an hour today. That's my goal. I'm sure we've all got some yard work to do, some chores, something to catch up with around the house. I know I've got quite a bit, so. I want to talk a little bit about. We'll turn this down a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about what we find out, where everything stands right now with Sarah Boone. We had planned. Good morning. I love this. Morning from California, still asleep. I'm sorry, Kona's mom, to wake you up. I'll let you get a little bit of beauty rest, but expect you to come back refreshed and full of questions here. Good morning, Paula. Glad to have you here. It's awesome. Let's talk a little bit because some things have changed. Oh, yes, unfortunately, some things have changed outside of our control. So that's going to be one of our topics today. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. I've got my lights too bright today. I feel like I'm being blinded in a dark room here. Randy says, good morning, brother. South Texas. Welcome from Texas. How's the weather down there, Randy? Good. Debbie says, I came in, it said good morning, went right back out, hit the like button, and now I am back. Debbie, I'm glad to have you back. Glad you could be here for this live. You guys are amazing, all of you. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. Have a great day ahead of you. Who's done their homework? Who's done their homework on Sarah Boone? Has everybody followed what's happening? Where we left it yesterday, at the time we had been planning on going sort of live with the trial, started on November 7th, which was the schedule according to Judge Wooten down there in the Ninth Circuit. That was where we were going to start. But then yesterday morning, Mr. Barowitz, I'll have to learn how to pronounce his name a little correctly, the lawyer for Sarah Boone, her lawyer filed a motion for continuance. Continuance is basically delay. We want to set it back, is what he said. He filed this motion for a continuance to delay it, and the judge granted it. And now we aren't going to begin trial till January 30th of next year. So it's over. It's almost a 2-month continuance. It is what it is. It's pushed out. So we're gonna look at some other stuff in the meantime. There's some other things coming into play as well. We looked at the letter that Sarah Boone wrote to her lawyer. I know she wrote a letter to the judge previously, but the letter she wrote to her lawyer, this latest, her 6th public defender, and she's like, "Why won't you answer my calls? Why won't you, be respectful and everything?" Debbie, that's great. Oh man. And then we get this continuance letter. I don't know what's going on, but I was talking to Matthew Harris, our sort of resident expert lawyer, who pops in when he's able, and he pointed me to the Florida Bar website where you can pull up sort of like it's like the naughty list for lawyers, And we've got a couple documents to look at. And apparently, Miss Sarah's lawyer has not been good all the time. There are two things on his record, so to speak, his professional record, two black marks, and they are a couple years back. But they're worth noting, especially because one of them relates to the very complaint that Sarah has right now about him. There was a case where there was possibly some confusion about the paperwork, the signing, basically the paperwork you signed to say you're going to represent me as a lawyer and I agreed to pay. But some actions were taken as if that that contract was in place. So the lawyer was in place as a representative, but then didn't really do anything. And the guy's like, the defendant had to sort of like file his own motions to the judge and be like, hey, my lawyer's not here, so I don't know what I'm doing. Well, he got reprimanded for that. And it's basically like getting your name written on the board when you were in school, when your teacher wrote the name on the board. Yeah, it's like that, and getting a check mark next to it. Definitely got sent to the principal's office. There was a public reprimand on the record for that. In addition, he was ordered to pay that defendant a certain amount of money. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lisa. Well, Leanna, glad you made it here. So yeah, that looks bad. That looks bad. Basically, this lawyer previously has been accused and found guilty of not being responsive to a client, which is exactly what Sarah is saying about him now. That's an issue. In addition to that, he has he has another public reprimand on his record for failing to pay the IRS taxes, and about $26,000, I think was the number, for one of his employees. Basically, the employer portion of the payroll tax, he didn't pay that. Now, he did catch up. He paid all the money back, but he did get reprimanded for that. So he basically has two check marks next to his name. And now we know that Sarah's complaining about him. So what does that mean? Basically, is he a bad lawyer? I don't know. It's going to be crazy. But so add to the fact that he just asked the judge for a delay. The judge granted him his delay, so Sarah will not be in court in trial. The hearing is going to be on January 30th instead of November 7th. And G says he's been a very bad boy. Debbie, is the lawyer a sovereign citizen? I hope not. Oh, I hope not. That would be just, we can't go there. It's too soon. Good morning, Chief Inspector. Good to have you here. Yes, Debbie, January 30th is what we're looking at for Sarah. Now, there are some other cases out there. There are some that are still in the headlines, some heartbreaking ones about a mom with a missing son, and they're searching a landfill right now for him. And that's piqued my interest. It's sort of bizarre. The behavior doesn't add up in my book, a lot like Sarah's behavior didn't add up on her interview. When she was, let's see if I can take this one. Ready, camera 2. There we go. When she was, this is the body cam footage of when she was first contacted the police. Basically, the morning, or I guess the afternoon that she found George in the suitcase. This is her on the screen right now. Is her ex-husband. That's who she called first before she called the police. Just weird stuff. And now when I look at this new case with this mom who has a darling little boy that's been missing, and you look at some of the facts and stuff around there and how they're behaving now, her and her mom are behaving, like sitting out in lawn chairs on the lawn while there's a search for their kid going on. P. Will for real says, that's the mom? No, that's not the mom. That is her ex-husband. That's Sarah Boone's ex-husband, who they have a child with, and they split 50-50 custody. So we're probably going to hear, when the trial starts, we're definitely going to hear his testimony, because he was sort of the first person she talked to after discovering George dead in the suitcase that she put him in. Catlaw says he's determined that, yes, that's not a good lawyer. It would give me pause to concern. And where she's asked for the court to assign a lawyer for her because she's not able to pay for one herself, She can't be like, next, can I get another one? No, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, as I tell my kids sometimes. The lawyer is assigned to your case. So does she have any? I mean, and maybe she's sort of leading up to this, but does she have any way to try to get a different one, to try to get him changed out? Can she file a motion to get a new public defender? And maybe the letter to her lawyer that she copied the judge is laying the groundwork for that case. Anyway, lots of crazy stuff, tons of crazy stuff coming up. Tell me what you guys have read. What have you found that has piqued your interest in the world of true crime? Probably last night, because I know all you guys are insomniacs like me. Gwen, good morning from New York. Let me go ahead and switch my video out here. We've seen enough of this. She's about to get questioned on that video, but we'll go into that later with the audio up, because there's some interesting stuff that we'll cover there. Bingo. Good morning, Gwen. How is it up there in New York, just north of me a ways? Lisa, yeah. Who are you gonna call? Right, your ex-husband. That was a weird. Why did she go there? And he was the one that convinced her to call the police. It's like, why would that not be the first thought in your mind if somebody's dead? Or somebody's like, somebody just died. I can't get him to breathe. Let's call my ex. Yeah, yeah. Weird. Anyway, Tiffany, hello, welcome. Good morning, all. Lori, it's good to have you guys here. For those that are just popping in, we found out yesterday that the Judge Wooten down in the Ninth Circuit Court down in Orange County has granted the request or the motion that Sarah Boone's lawyer put in yesterday for a continuance, which is basically we're asking for a delay. And he granted it and basically changed the date for trial from November 7th to January 30th. So we have more time to watch this video. There's really only two main videos to watch. One is her the body cam footage I was showing just a minute ago, and you can find both of these on like Law and Crime, just uncut, just all audio, just uncut. And I recommend watching them at 2 times speed, and then when it gets something interesting, like slow it down and rewind a little bit, because man, just sitting there for the whole thing, actual speed is killing me. But Lori, who are you going to call? Baggage busters. Wow. P. Will, I'm sure there's another good case from Florida somewhere. There's always crazy crimes there. There are, but there's other stuff around the country that we're looking at, and we'll probably look at that at some of the stuff from the headlines next week as well. But we do know that Monday's the day we're going to be back with Judge Darrow as we all have our candy hangovers, right? Or because we all eat the candy early. For those of you that don't celebrate Halloween, the way you celebrate properly, I learned this as a parent, is you go out early ahead of time because you're a responsible parent, and you buy plenty of candy for trick-or-treaters. And then you eat all that candy before Halloween. And then you have to go out again and buy more candy. And today's the day we're going to go out again and buy more candy for us. But Monday, we're gonna get with Judge Darrow. We're going to hear at least tomorrow. I'm expecting to really have a timeline for how the rest of the case will play out. Maybe not a sentencing date, but possibly. We'll definitely have an idea. Debbie, I think the son is 3. Let me look here. I think he's 3, and I don't have any video or anything to pull up here, and because it's still fresh from the headlines, literally there's no charges filed yet. The mom is just listed as the primary and the only suspect right now. The investigators are playing their cards really close to their chest in that case, and they have not really released much of anything other than to say we have reason to believe that his body is in the landfill. And they even know an area of the landfill that it should be in, which to me, that for them to know that there's an area of a landfill, that means they know which garbage truck would have picked up his body, which means they know which garbage can or garbage container so there's a lot of things they know that they aren't revealing. But yeah. Do you think the judge will dress up for Halloween? I've heard some people suggest she be Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think that that's the opposite sort of political philosophy from what the judge is, just from what I can gather. Did find a video. If you're just a Judge Darrow fan, if you walk away from this court case and all you can talk about is Judge Darrow, there is a video out there that basically tells her life story, shows her kids, tells her a little bit about who she is. I'm not going to play it here because I think that's a little invasive. It was obviously released well before. I think it was in 2013 as that video came out. So it's got her 3 kids on there, stuff like that. So I'm not going to post that, but it's out there if you want to search it up. It's not that hard to find. If you do watch it, let me know if you see anything in there that really jumps out at you. Anyway, so the judge might be a Supreme Court justice for Halloween. But it's it would sort of be like dressing up as your current job for Halloween. That's sort of what she does already, but just not on that level. What are you guys going to be for Halloween? How many of you guys dress up? Is it still something you do? Mr. Upper Torso, great name by the way, says, I think she's going to get on the stand. I mean, it would be stupid, but based on her interrogation, she thinks she can fool or bully people. Oh my goodness. She had the expectation, you're right, Mr. Upper Torso, that the investigators, we're talking back to Sarah Connor here, right? Sarah Connor, or not Sarah Connor. Oh man, that would be bad. We're talking Sarah Boone. We're talking about her interaction with the investigators, and she had this way about her where she was like, that's the story, so you guys should believe it. So am I cool to go? Because I've got to go pick up my boyfriend's wedding ring and tell all the people that he's dead, and then I'm going to stop and get some groceries. It was bizarre, really bizarre. But she does think that she is in control of the situation, or she wants to be in control of the situation. So I do think she'll want to testify. I wonder if her public defender can talk her out of it. But all she has to say of a value is that I didn't mean to do it. That wasn't intent. And if she does get on the stand, she's going to be cross-examined. She's going to be asked a lot of questions that maybe she hasn't prepared the answer for, or isn't prepared to answer. Debbie, it is heartbreaking. A cute little boy. Oh my goodness! You look at the picture, and then, oh man, we'll look at that too. Lindsay, I get where you're going with that. Sovereign citizen. Daryl's going to dress up in the costume he's going to be wearing for quite a while, and it's going to have a number on the back. Not malicious, yeah. I think Eric says, I think he's right. She had that attitude of someone who thinks she's smarter than everyone and thinks she's able to fool everyone. Yeah, it's. Did you get the part where she said, I think me having to find him like that, and that should be punishment enough. as if discovering the results of your illegal activities is punishment enough. There should be no, yeah. If our justice system worked like that, if every criminal got to just choose their own punishment, it would be a different place. And I can tell you very few people would be in prison. Lori says, hey, I dress up like a normal person since I'm scary all year long. That's awesome. Catlaw, baby Quentin was 20 months old when he went missing. Catlaw, have you followed this story? I'm trying to find out the actual details. What was the time frame between he was last seen and when he was reported missing? This baby Quentin we're talking about, I know we're talking about like 7 different things at once, but that's how my brain works, and I appreciate you guys being patient here. What was that time frame between those 2 events? Because I think that might be pretty telling as well. Leanna, get out of the house. Is it a fire alarm? What's up? Somebody go to Leanna's house and check on her, please. Make sure everything's good there. Sarah will talk about what a good person she is, how she helps George all the time. Oh, I know if she goes on the stand in her own defense, it's gonna be all roses. She's gonna be just the girlfriend of the year type thing. But it's on cross. It's on cross that I think she's really gonna struggle, especially when it comes to basically presenting her with the facts that this boyfriend of yours that was supposedly climbed in the suitcase, and you zipped it up and thought it was fun and it was all game and he was going to get out and come upstairs. He didn't, and somewhere along the line he received some pretty significant injuries as well, and you were the only one with him. There's her just saying I don't know how it happened is not going to get her out of that. Broken Cradle, hey, how's it going, my man? Hey, my friend, doing great work. Can't wait to see what happens with this case. Appreciate you joining today. Love to have you here. Glad you can catch a live. Conan's mom. Oh my goodness, there are a couple missing toddlers. I've actually, I was talking with my wife about this. I'm thinking, as much as I like this, I think we might need to have a day, and maybe it'll have to be every Saturday, where instead of sharing just these awful, intriguing but awful cases, maybe we need a positive day where we just have a positive news story where we have, something went right. Maybe it was a bad situation that somebody turned around and it's like a people are good type moment. What do you guys think about that? Would that be a good reset for the weekend if we did a Saturday people are good segment and just took a break from all the crazies that's out there? Eric Banter says, recovery addict. Did you hear the big news on the 5-year-old case of the Delphi murders? I've been following that for years. No, Eric, let us know what happened there and when did that break? Nancy Brophy gives me Sarah Boone vibes, just older. I think we're going to see that, actually young man vibe from Boone if she testifies. Maybe. Mississippi Rattlers and Reptiles says, I dress up as a witch and my barn owl named Edwin and I trick or treat with the grandchildren. That would be awesome. I love people that keep raptors and all that. Are you a falconer as well, or is it more for rehabilitation, Mississippi? Can we know the site to look up Florida lawyers? Yeah, give me just a second. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm going through like the 500 tabs I have open on my desktop. I need help really when it comes to desktop management. Okay, let's see. I believe it's called Florida Bar. Let me just see if I can get there and I'll put it up on screen. It's not Florida Bar Association. They really don't like being called that. But it's just Florida Bar. And we're going to search for... I need to pull up his name here. There it is. Here we go. Okay, so here is his form. This is his name. We're going to search for his name. We've got to pull it up here. I'm on the website is floridabar.org, O-R-G. And when you get there, sorry, I have to make the screen big so I can see it. We're going to see program there. Okay, so we're going to search for this. Bankowitz is the name. So on the website, the Florida Bar website, go up there and you search for Bankowitz. And it's going to have a member profile, and it's going to have Supreme Court disciplines 24 attorneys. Well, he was one of the 24 on that. So let's take... I've got too many buttons. Okay, multi-view. Okay, so we're going to take camera. I don't have it. I don't know why it's not working. But let me give I'm going to put it in chat then. How about that? Florida Bar, copy. And this will get you the website that has the information about his disciplinary action. This first one that I just posted in chat is the news release sort of thing for one of them. But if you just search for his name and look at his profile, I believe it has. Yep, this is his. This is like it's like a Facebook page for lawyers, just the Florida Bar, and I've got that linked now in chat. That one has the links to both his reprimands, and each reprimand has like a sort of the court case version where he sort of appeared and addressed it, and then it has the Supreme Court version where they like finalized it and made a public reprimand and they ordered it. Yeah, Matthew Harris, you're right. Directly to his bar profile. Thank you. And by the way, this information comes courtesy of Matthew Harris, who provided that for us. But that second link, I think, should be his bar profile, that Florida Bar profile. Anyway, does that answer your question? Hopefully so. Too many of me on the screen at once. There's too much to handle. All right, let's see what I missed here. Eric, you gave us an update here. Last night they announced they have someone in custody. Finally, they will have a press conference on it Monday. Hopefully it's not the same time as the other. Eric, I want to look at that, because especially if it's a long case and they finally had a break in it, that might be fascinating to look at. So tell me again, you said the name is Richard Allen. Okay, I'll put this in my notes here. This is going to be my homework today. I'm going to look into that one, especially if we're going to have a little bit of information released on sort of a cold case. That would be awesome. And it's a news conference on Monday. We might be able to bring that to you guys as well. Okay. Roxanne says, good morning, friends. Feeling better today. Had a therapy session via video yesterday afternoon. I was letting these murders trigger me too deeply. Roxanne, excellent. Thanks. I'm glad you're doing better. It helps to talk to somebody. It really does. If you don't have somebody, there are some cool services out there where you can do it online. Just talk to someone if you need to, and I highly recommend it. If things aren't going right, if you're not in a good space inside, that's a great thing to do. Lori says, here in Florida, they broadcast disciplinary proceedings against Florida attorneys. We'll have to find those. Maybe we have video of Mr. Bankowitz being reprimanded. Matthew Harris is right. It was postponed until January. We're looking at January 30th for the Sarah Boone trial. We know there's some paperwork going back and forth where her lawyers are basically asking for discovery. They're asking for information the other side has. So they're basically saying there's new information that we're looking at. There's still, we're not ready yet. And the judge granted it. So Goldmom says, I just looked it up. He looks like the sketches. I hope they got the right guy. I assume they wouldn't be releasing any info if they didn't have some proof. I think you're talking about this, the guy Eric was telling us about, this Richard Allen guy. I will look into that, and maybe we'll talk about that next week, depending on how the Daryl Boone thing goes. Lindsay disagrees. She says, I don't agree that Sarah is the female version of Daryl. I think she may actually be insane or stupid from the trial. I don't think Daryl is either. Daryl had a level of intelligence that was at times impressive, but other times it was a little weird. It's definitely more than 2 months until then. Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Apatoso, yeah, a lot of people fake stupid to manipulate. How can you ask anything of them when they have the brain of a 5-year-old, but they know exactly what they're doing? Yeah, I think Mr. Brooks and his I don't understand, it didn't fool anybody there. Matthew Allen, you have a YouTube channel? Let me, can I make you a mod really quickly? Hey, first, Lori. Let's Matthew, I'm going to leave this entirely up to Lori. Lori, convince me why I should make Matthew Allen a mod so we can put his link in chat. Eric says, I'd love to hear your take on the Delphi case. The girls recorded their killer on Snapchat, and you could hear his voice. I've been hoping they would break on this one soon. Man. Let me back up. I didn't see any answers about having a good news day. There we go. We've got a few. I'm on board for that idea. I'm in. Yep, a good day chat would be awesome. Okay, we'll plan this. We'll go light today then, instead of really digging into stuff, because we have had a heavy week with a lot of tough stuff that we've talked about. We're gonna go light today, and starting with next week. Here's my plan. Every morning, I'm going to try to be on about the same time. You guys, you seem to be here. It seems to work for you. I'm trying to be maybe an hour, maybe 2 in the morning. We'll talk about the cases that are developing. We'll talk about what's coming up. We'll talk about maybe what happens the previous afternoon, and then we'll just go back and do our homework. That'll give us a time to catch up. It'll get us a time to just talk with each other and, just check in on each other. Then if we have a big case, like on Monday we have the Daryl Brooks case, I'm also going to be live during those proceedings. So we're going to sort of watch those together. but plan on pretty much every weekday morning for an hour or two in the morning, maybe 9. It might have to be a little bit later, but we'll try that. I'm trying to get a schedule so you guys can count on when I'm going to be here. Then Saturday, we'll do a Good News Saturday, and it will just be good stories and just friendly, nice chat and all that. So that's what we're going to do. Let's write it down so it's going to happen. Debbie says, recovery addict, a little weird, referring to Brooks as like being a little pregnant. Yeah, he pretty much was the definition of that. The Delphi case, we'll look into that. I'll see if I can bring you some more material. I want to bring you something different than what other people have, and everybody else has video. That's the same video that you can find on, just searching YouTube or searching the news. And where I sort of excel is I really like reading the paperwork, the background stuff. So I want to see if I can bring you something that maybe puts a little different spin on things, maybe opens up our minds to a different idea as to what's happening. Lindsay, I'm in Alaska. What time it is there so I can set my clock? Lindsay, right now it is 9:43. So basically 45 minutes ago is about when I was supposed to go live. I was a little bit late today, but I had to reset up more computers because I really wanted to get your chat on the screen. Kona's mom, I get that they didn't have a suspect and needed to keep certain things under wraps. I've just never seen a case so tight. It is remarkable how tight it is. And they've literally said we've intentionally not released any data because we're trying to protect the integrity of this trial and any future developments. We want to be able to control how it comes out. A lot like how they do with the interrogation of Darrell Brooks. They had a lot of information when they first pulled him in, but they're just talking about the domestic, and they're trying to get information out of him talking about that domestic with Erica, while sort of getting him, seeing if he'll tell the truth. Well, they have additional information. So I think they're going to do that, especially if she's arrested. And man, some of the news stories she said and the way she said, if there's anything that comes out that where I'm at fault, then I'll take myself to the police station type thing. It's like, no, why don't you just do that if you're at fault? Gwen Pigeon says, give Recovery Addict a thumbs up to hit the like button. X out of live chat, hit the like, then you can come right back. That's awesome. Lisa says Brooks will act up on Monday and the judge will not play games with him. Lisa, do you think we'll see the gag? Do you think she'll gag him? Obviously, if there's any point he has to be able to respond as his own lawyer, I don't think she can gag him. I think that would be, grounds for, serious complaints on his part. But if he just has to be there as a silent witness, I think the gag's on the table. I wonder if Brooks is going to suck up to the judge because he finally understands that she decides his fate, or if he'll be a defiant baby because he thinks he actually has an appeal. Mr. Upper Torso, I think we saw some of that when the jury was out deliberating. I think Mr. Brooks knew what they were going to do. And that was his creepy, smiley, friendly, flirty self with the judge. Hey, Your Honor, it's coming. Subject matter jurisdiction. Big old smile. Wink, wink. Ugh. Cringe. Lori Pavic, yes, Scott, but you keep things kosher, civil, with integrity and respect. You said kosher. And you know what I thought as soon as I read kosher? Pickles. Pickles are kosher, and pickles go on sandwiches, and I haven't had a sandwich yet today. So hopefully I will have a sandwich for lunch with pickles. But yes, we do try to keep it kosher. We want everybody here to be comfortable and be able to have a conversation where there is respect and different opinions. Definitely different opinions as well. I don't like an echo chamber. Miss L, there is a new suitcase murder. 5-year-old Cario Amar Jordan in Indiana. One arrested, mother on the loose and or missing. I don't like how many times suitcases are coming up in murders. Most of the time it's to hide a body or transport it, but yeah. I don't do well with small spaces, so this will be triggering for me for sure. Lainey Meisner says, are you going to cover the Crumbly parents trial? Let me put it in my notes and I can tell you, we'll check it out. there's a couple factors. First of all, I don't want to cover trials that I think will be hurtful to victims, or just there's some that are just they're too bad for me. I can't stomach it. And DB was close to that. The only reason I was able to do it is we joined when there was a lot of time had passed, a year had passed, and it was, and I could see that the parents are healing. They're coming together. They're, the community's strong. But so there's some things I weigh, and we might cover some things lightly, but depending on what the trial is, like child abuse stuff is, I don't know if I can go there. I re-listened to the interrogation of Brooks earlier. He is such a liar. My gosh. Sorry, Kona's mom, I didn't put you up on screen for that, but thank you. I heard a rumor Judge Darrow is pregnant. Is that true? It's just a rumor that I know. And if it is, I'm not sure if it's my place to announce that. But congratulations if she is. That's awesome. That would be, I believe, her fourth child, which is really neat. Do you think people will come talk on his behalf like his mom? Lindsay, great question. His mom did talk to the news again. And man, it is so hard to watch those interviews with her. She is crushed. She is devastated. And of course, she feels that the son she knows wouldn't do this. But he did. But she just says, I can't stomach it. I can't be there in that courtroom. So it looks like she will not be there. She didn't even watch the sentencing. She found out about that from a friend. So I don't think his mom is going to be there. Really, I don't know who would be there. I mean, do you have your fellow rap buddy star from the music video? I mean, who do you? Erica's not going to be there to testify in his defense. His kids? Man, that would be rough. I don't know. Danielle, you were so correct. I think the judge had to wash her eyes after that. It was bad. Yep. Lisa, you're right. Brooke's mom said she will not be in the courtroom at all. Her words, she says she just wants to curl up and die. That's how she feels right now. But then she says, as long as one of my kids is alive, I have to be alive. So she's going through a rough place. So creepy, his gross grin when he said there's 61 injured and we didn't have 61 people testify. Hey, like he really thought he had a gotcha. Sometimes a total moron, right? Just extend that logic just a little bit. He's basically saying, unless there's a plaintiff, you can't charge me. And the plaintiff has to be the person who filed the claim, which means they were injured in the matter. So with that idea that he's set up, how would anyone get charged with murder? It's impossible because there's no plaintiff. They're not here. I don't see them in the courtroom, so no harm, no foul. Ruling on the experts will be Monday in that school shooting case. Right, the parents' criminal liability regarding the gun that wasn't locked up. Catlaw will look into that one a little bit as well. Arlene says, what did Brooks mean when he made the "you're going to choke me" comment to the judge at the end? Does anyone have a translator on that? I don't think he was talking literally about choking. It's basically like, you're going to cut me off. You're preventing me from saying what I'm trying to say. That was my take on it. I don't think he was literally talking about choking. Brooke's charm is certainly cringeworthy. What was Erica thinking? I really feel for her. Hope she can make the best of the rest of her life. It looks like she's in a good space now, or at least much better. So hopefully things are turning up for her. Lindsay, I wonder if that is why Daryl acted up on the day he said, if I tell my mom to be here, she will. Yeah, and she won't. She won't be there. Yeah. I think, Mr. Uppatorso, I think you're right. Erica is much more mature than she was when she became pregnant by Mr. Brooks. So hopefully she's in a better place. Oh man, my chat just jumped. I think I missed a few. Shane, thanks for being here. 2 minutes. It's a good 2 minutes, right? We'll take what we can get. O'Neill literally screamed at the jury and even respected judge rulings. Brooks is insane. We've got some wackos out there. Belated greetings from Chandra. Glad you could make it here, Chandra. You made it in time for the live, so it counts. I forgot to give out the internet this morning. Who was it? The one that Angie came in with the first good morning, so she was the winner of the internet for today. So if you have any problems on your end with data speeds or anything else, just go ahead and give her a call. It's her fault. So thanks, Ann. You didn't know that came with winning the internet, did you? You're responsible for keeping it running. It's in the fine print. Let's see. Debbie says, that describes Brooks to a T. Cringe. Not just cringeworthy, but actual cringe. Ashley says the guy in the rap video with Brooks is his nephew, who he allegedly shot. Oh, my goodness. Are they still on speaking terms? Do you think he'd come down and, say, hey, let me speak for you, bud? That was in the past. Hakuna Matata, right? So, Lori, I think that's what you're talking about as well. The guy in this video that apparently they had a falling out. Do you think it terrified him? Here's my question: was it a kill shot, and would that be terrifying to be shot at with a kill shot? The only thing I've learned from gangster videos about shootings is that kill shots are when you hold the gun sideways. So I wonder if that's what happened. Wholly Unaware says, who was the DA that let Brooks walk with only $1,000 bail? It was a new guy. That's all I can say. It was a new guy who made a request for $1,000 bail. The judge said, okay, granted. And it should have been higher. It was a mistake. It was just it's like the rookie on the job. But it's tough. And the mom feels guilty for bailing him out. I mean, it's like this wouldn't have happened had I not bailed him out. Linda, I think you've got a point there. I think there was definitely possibly some manipulation in his relationships with other people as well. Chris Power says, recovery addict, do you think the moment in court was the last time DB saw Erica? And maybe he knew it. That's why he went off. Well, I definitely, what I wish was really submitted into court as evidence. I wish the door had been opened, okay? Because Zach, when he was on the prosecution table, he was going through some of the details that they would be forced to present if that door was open, that proverbial door into DB's past. And one of the things is how many times he has made outbound calls, I believe to Erica. Did you guys catch that? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that he had tried to call and she's never accepted the call or something like that. Lindsay says, okay, maybe it's because I'm in the crazy cold, but what does it mean when you win the internet? Lindsay, it's just a fun little saying. When you have a really good comment or you, in our case, when you're the first person to chat with a first remark, I just like to give you the internet for the day. It means you're the proud owner of the internet. It's really just it's sort of like a hollow title. I do say I mail it to you, but I don't have the internet to give you. It's just a fun little thing I do, and it's sort of silly, and if it bugs you, I'll stop. Ashley says, recovery addict, from what I can gather, there's a non-contact order against Brooks regarding the nephew. Yeah, so he can't shoot him again, right? That's, Mr. Apatorso says, I gagged when he said, I'm happy to say my conscience is clear. Yeah, I've made my peace with God. No regrets, right? Oh, man. Did he really say I have no regrets? I swear that's what I heard. And I saw on, I believe it was on Law and Crime's channel that he posted that and said, I have no regrets. I think it was a slip of his tongue. I think he was meant to say to the jury to have no regrets when they were done, which I think they took his advice and they don't have any regrets. But yeah, it was, yeah. Let's see. Many states are considering trying to not have bail for certain crimes, just to get around this issue of letting people out when they shouldn't, I imagine. Lots of bail mistakes are being made lately. Yeah, it's hard. And realistically, Tisha, you look at that and you've got basically anytime someone is out on bail and commits another crime, we're going to look back with hindsight and say, that shouldn't have happened. Why was he let out? But there are a lot of people who are let out on bail and don't commit crimes, even let out on bail on some pretty serious charges. And so they're the ones that don't make the news, right? We only hear about the people who, get out on bail and then immediately go back and do exactly the thing they were, in jail for in the first place. But I wish for a lot of things, says Kona's mom. Share your wish, close your eyes, count to 3, might come true. Vicky says, I think he wanted her back on the stand during his defense just to get his last time at her. I think so as well. He definitely, as soon as she was on the stand, his whole demeanor, he was the prosecutor as soon as she was on the stand. And even though the judge tried to make it perfectly clear that we're here because of your actions on November 21st, 2021, everything he was doing is, since that date, have you done it? It's like, since that date, nothing matters. Nothing matters as far as this court's concerned, because it's that date, Mr. DB, that we're all here for. And anything she did after that fact is irrelevant. William, okay, you heard it the same, that 37 times DB tried to contact her ex. Yeah, you guys all paid very close attention. Thank you for keeping notes. Ashley, Not the Mama, Chris Powers, William. Lisa got it as well. Yeah, that's 0 times. 0 times did she accept the call. That's amazing. Brooks' Napoleon complex. Do I look 5'9" to you? It's like, no, you look about 5'4", even though you're 5'8". Eric says, did you ever see the videos from Sarah Boone's phone? Yes. Oh my goodness. I watched and I heard them. And it's George in a suitcase struggling to get out, screaming, begging for his life, basically, and her mocking him. And how do you fit that evidence with the I didn't intend for anything to happen? It's going to be an interesting trial for sure. Kona's mom says, cross-exam of Brooks on the stand, his mom on the stand. I think he was so angry because his mom didn't show up. Maybe that's why it was frustrating. But if Brooks was on the stand, and I really thought he was going to because he likes to talk so much, if Brooks was on the stand, I think he would have said his piece and then refused to answer any prosecution's questions. He might have been able to be goaded into talking, but he'd probably play the whole I don't understand your question, or something stupid like that, just so he wouldn't have to answer. Because what could the judge do, really? Hold him in contempt? Lock him up? He wants the delay, and if she locks him up, then court can't proceed. So he sort of had a trump card there to play, and so in that regard, I'm glad he didn't get to do that and further frustrate the system. Lori says, I'm waiting for any interview of any juror. Lori, here's what I was thinking about this. Maybe these jurors spent a lot of time together, right? Maybe they all got together and said, look, if we team up, if we sort of like unionize as Darrell Brooks jurors, we could make something good happen for us and for the community. And maybe they say, yeah, we'll talk, but it's all of us or none of us. And here's our list of demands. We want, this much donated to the Waukesha Community Fund, and this much, and we want, they might want some money, and I don't fault them for that. They might say we each want $25,000. That's great. I don't fault them for that. It wasn't like they went out seeking to be on this jury, and hoping for an opportunity where they could, be in this position. But yeah. Matthew Harris did some homework already. He found the YouTube channel for Florida Attorney Discipline. It's at Judicial Oversight, but couldn't find anything on Bankowitz. Okay, so we might not have video of him admitting to not being responsive to his clients. But thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. John Lucas says, recovery addict, now that DB is convicted, do his jail conditions get worse? Does he go to another facility? This is my understanding, John. He's going to be in jail, the same facility he's been for the last almost a year, until sentencing. And at the point of sentencing, literally that day, when he leaves the courtroom, he will not be going back to the jail. He will be going to the prison. That's when he's turned over into the prison custody. And in jail, he's been in solitary. It was like 22, 23 hours of solitary a day, a couple hours out. So as far as do his conditions get worse, he'll be in a different facility. It'll be a change for him. different color bars, is basically, but the view's the same. There's nothing else really changes other than that, unless when he goes to prison, they put him in general population, which I don't see them doing right off the bat, just because of the nature of his crime. When you hurt and when you run over a whole bunch of kids who are celebrating a Christmas parade, even criminals don't like that. There's nobody in jail who's like, yeah, go DB type thing. And so there's a risk against his life. Unfortunately, it's just a reality of what it is. Pro tip from Mr. Upper Torso: don't document your crimes, and also don't commit crimes where a huge public all have their cell phones out, like Christmas parade. Yeah, great advice. Where were you for DB a year ago, right? Lori says, I would love to hear those jailhouse phone calls. Grounds from Larky. Coffee grounds? Just all grounds. Lisa says, Brooks helped the prosecution's job opening the door. He did, and there was times that I think the judge could have actually ruled and said the door's been opened. But the prosecution didn't go there, which they were sort of respecting the judge, because the judge didn't want that door opened, because that prejudices everybody against him, and it brings a gray area in that didn't have to be there. She wants it focused just on the events of that day, of what he did on November 21st. And once you open up the previous stuff, it muddies the water a little bit. And that's why she didn't want it there. Will there be any Brooks phone calls available? I don't think so. I don't think they're considered a public record, because they are personal. They were subpoenaed, and that's why prosecution had them, because potentially, and it sounds like they actually pertain to something that could be evidence in trial. So let's see. I've seen this comment, Conan's mom, at several different forms. But reason for the substain, Your Honor. Yeah, he learned a lot about courtroom vernacular. Lindsay, yes, 100% yes. Bankowitz would be a better lawyer. It's just about anybody would have been a better lawyer. Even one who just plays one on TV would have been a better lawyer, I think, for Daryl than himself. Just for knowing how the system works, for knowing, what kind of objections to raise, because the prosecution wasn't clean in their questioning. There were times when he could have objected on and had good grounds for objections, but he didn't know the language. He didn't know the definitions. He didn't know the process. I don't think he got any evidence submitted. Like actual evidence submitted into the case. He didn't know how to get a witness's testimony that had been given to a police officer as entered into evidence. And he wanted to bring that up. You could tell he was trying to read it, and all he could do was present it as hearsay. So, yeah, I don't think the outcome would have been different as far as the him being found guilty, but I definitely think it would have been better for him that had he had a lawyer that could at least navigate the system for him. Matthew Harris has another pro tip: don't commit crimes. Hey, let me give a shout out for Matthew Harris. He has a YouTube channel where he gives little tips and teaches you about the law, and a lot of it's specific to Texas, because the laws, each state is like its own little country in that way. The laws differ from state to state. And so he's not like giving out legal advice through YouTube. It's just he's sharing ideas, and obviously you want to consult a lawyer for your specific situation. But it's great. I just watched one this morning about how in Texas, whether or not you're allowed to flash your headlights to warn drivers about a speed trap. So head over to his channel, give him a like, subscribe to his channel too. He's got some great stuff. And we'll have him on here on video here soon, hopefully. That's part of my homework today, is to get the technology side on my side set up so we can have him join us here, sort of like a panel discussion. So yeah, pro tips from a real lawyer. Bennett says, can we send Brooks letters on how nice the weather is and how nice the sun feels on my skin? Oh, Bennett, yes, you can. All you need to know is how to address a letter to get to him. And basically it's his name and his inmate number, and then the receiving email address for the jail or the prison he's at. If there's any public record that he sent from the jail to the courthouse, which should be in the courthouse documents. It should have the return address of all that information, but that will be for the jail. It'll be different once he goes to prison. His inmate number will most likely change because it's in the prison system instead of the jail, and obviously the address will change as well. Roxanne says, does anyone believe someone else is involved with Delphi besides Richard Allen? I'm on the fence. I'm going to look into that, Roxanne, and do some digging. I'm not well versed in that one, so I'll have to find out. Conan's mom said, Daryl Brooks had a GoFundMe for jail money. Can't think of the name, never been in jail. He raised $5,000. I don't think it was from the parade time. The guy on YouTube posted Brooks' background. Wow. Yeah, I won't be donating to that. No desire, zero desire. Lori, he took some bad advice, and he wrote it to the end. Bean says, Ted Bundy was better self-defending murderer's nut job than Brooks, and that's saying something. Yeah, Ted Bundy, for a serial killer, crazy guy. I've told you on a previous stream, he actually tried to abduct someone from my high school, and this was years before I was in high school. But that was one of the only victims that ever got away from him. Chris Watts is also in a Wisconsin prison. I wonder if DB will be in the same one. It's possible. We'll find out here soon. Good to have you, Grace, in the YouTubes this morning. It's good to have you here, Last Poet. I'm glad to see you here again. Larky says there that Brooks was an energy drain, and I've gone back to when he requested to go pro per from the beginning. He said he didn't understand. Hopefully it will stand up on appeal. Right. When he did that, sorry, let me put your comment up on the screen, Larky. When he said that, the judge made it pretty clear. I mean, she literally spelled out. She's like, here's the Latin definition for what you're talking about. Here's, when you say pro per to the court, it means pro se. I know it means something to you. And she spelled it out pretty clearly. And by the end of that discussion she had with him, he was acknowledging directly and saying, yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. There's only like one or two points where she actually said, I am going to rule that you have been informed, where she made that decision of him being informed. And I think she covered herself pretty well. Eric says, DB also has to know his sovereign citizen wouldn't work. He had a state ID. Sovereign citizens are big on the whole idea of state laws. Yeah, it did not work at all. Lori says, I got a ticket for flashing my headlights to let a driver pull out in front of me on the freeway. Son of a gun. Lori, if you're in Texas, I learned this from Matthew, you've got to be at least 500 feet away from that car. So if they're closer than 500 feet and you flash your lights, it may be a violation. But sorry about that, man. You're trying to do the good thing. I know I've done it. I've started doing it with with like the way semis do it. They like turn off their lights and back on briefly, just to say thank you instead of flashing the brights. I'm not sure if that's worse or better. Matthew will have to tell me on that. But Bundy had a law background, right? I don't remember. Was he in the law profession at all? I know what he did as a hobby. John Lucas says, hey, everyone, there are 196 of us here. Hit the like button. Ted Bundy was a law student, says Ann. So, yeah, he did have some knowledge of that. Mr. Upper Torso, I stumble over that. I got it right twice in a row, and then I failed this time. Speaking of GoFundMe, but for good, the mom witness with 4 kids, all of them injured, had an ongoing GoFundMe. After she testified, streamers and their chats raised like $30,000 within 24 hours. Oh, man, let me tell you, yesterday, that mom, let me pull up the document here. Urel was her last name. She had asked to have her kids' names kept private. I went through yesterday and I made a spreadsheet because as the witnesses are sharing their stories next week, I wanted to be able to give you some background just so you understood, who it was and what they're talking about. So I made a spreadsheet. I documented every single victim whose name we have, a summary of the injuries, basically. So what float they were a part of, whether they were a participant, what their injuries are, the outcome, whether they passed away or not. And so I've got like 43 lines of data. We don't have all the information of all that, and it was heartbreaking just typing in just the number of times I'm typing in traumatic brain injury, and fractures, and just crazy injuries. But yeah, he did a ton of damage, and that mom, 4 kids, and then having her on the stand, and the way she held up so well, because she was Brooks's witness, right? He called her, and so she testified, and then on the cross exam, which seemed a little bit heartless initially, because it was getting her right where it hurt, like asking her the hard questions. Then you saw that just what a hero she was, what an amazing, powerful strength she is, an amazing mother she was, as she handled all his questions so well, where he never once mentioned the fact that he had run over 4 of her kids. Ollie's got some background. He's done his Ted Bundy homework. He said went to law school but didn't attend class and was facing academic probation. So law school dropout. Is that what we're getting at? Lori got $100 ticket. I'm sorry, Lori. You were trying to be friendly and let somebody in, tell them it was safe. Sometimes it works out that way. Yeah, Mr. Upper Torso, I forgot which one we're talking about there, but appreciate your comments. When Daryl Brooks questioned witnesses about money claims, I about spit. Yeah, it was every single one. He's like, so there's a financial interest for you, right? It's like, yeah, I would like to get help paying for my 4 children's ongoing surgeries. Let's see. The way he attacked the soft-spoken priest, really, that guy, he organized a group, and that group, most of the members of the Catholic community were Hispanic. It's just that's the church. A lot of times you get a lot of relatives and friends together, and that's what they had, and there wasn't a lot of money there. It was a poor group, and it was, yeah, to have him attack, it was awful. Patty O'Shea, welcome Patty, says, Barb Murray, DV survivors go through a lot of stages. I understand the thought process. We have to guard against blaming the victim. She was 14 when he took her from Reno, Nevada to Wisconsin to his mom. Yeah, she was young, and he has a record because of it. Kona's mom says, love your show, great chat. I just need an hour more sleep. See you all soon. Kona, I'll take that into advisement. We might have to delay it for an hour just for you. But I appreciate you being here. Ollie says, I think the mom of 4 had to be interviewed by Zach at some point, and she knew what was needed. She went for it. Good for both. Tough questions for Zach to ask. They were tough. And had she been the state's witness, and he hit starting with those questions, I think it would have made the state look bad in the eyes of the jury, because they'd be feeling for the witness, right? For this mom who's been dragged up here by the prosecution and forced to just spill her guts about the most painful time of her life in front of everything. But because she had just been attacked by the DB, and the prosecution was able to come in and present it in a way of saying, there's another side to this that isn't being told, right? And it's a painful side, and it's a side that you're still living today. I think it was amazing. It was powerful. They did a masterful job there. Okay. I'm really shocked that as injured as Brooks was, that he didn't file a claim, but apparently he did not. Wow, what a man, huh? Yeah. Every witness Brooks called up was used against him, and was a state's witness. It was hilarious. I've never seen that level of ineptitude from a defense before. Vain Brain says, hello, you should cover the James and Jennifer Crumbly trial. It's shaping up to be a good one. Okay, that's the second vote we've had for Crumbly. I'm going to look into that today and see what's going on, see if there's something that would be of interest to you guys. And if it's, if video's available, things like that. So there's a few factors that have to come into play. The community is strong, in my opinion. They are having a parade in December, and I hope it has amazing turnout and it has the support of all the surrounding communities. It's going to be great. Wisconsin strong. John Lucas says, Recovery Addict, when will DB's civil trial come? Will there be multiple? Great question. I believe there will be at least one. They probably to prevent him from profiting from his crime in some way, like a book deal or movie rights or something like that, or probably to recover some money from his music sales or whatever it is, because the families deserve compensation. There's no way that DB's ever going to earn enough to make what they deserve, but there will be a civil trial. It might be a group, it might be lots of individual ones, but you think a lot of these families, they know that there's going to be no more satisfactory moment for them as far as the healing process goes in relation to Mr. Brooks and his punishment than when he's sentenced. Going back and suing him again is keeping that wound open. So I think you'll find some families don't participate or participate basically as a silent partner type thing. They want to be able to heal. Lindsay says, the whole time in court, I cannot believe he showed no remorse. I kept saying sometimes out loud that he could have been way more respectful if he felt bad. Lindsay, the thing that stood out to me was in his opening statement. Okay, he's got this tearful opening statement, and he started well. He started like, "Hey, this might be good. I mean, not good for him, but it might at least paint a picture that somebody can say, okay, I can see maybe there might be cause to not throw the book at him." But it started out saying about how much healing needs to happen. But as soon as he said the alleged defendant, and he wouldn't even associate himself with the fact that he is the defendant, for me, it was gone. There was zero. There was nothing he gained in the eyes of the jury, in my mind, when he said that. Lindsay, the damage to the car, that must have had a major impact on the jury. You've got to think that they didn't just see pictures. They were actually taken to the car and walked right around it. And walked all the way around the car and saw all that damage. And they saw the before pictures. They knew that the car was basically immaculate prior to that. And Crumbly case will bring up Second Amendment rights. It will. There's some strong issues that are going to be raised there, and responsibility about gun ownership. We'll most likely be looking into that, Roxanne. Thank you. Yeah, Lori, he didn't understand the process. He didn't understand that you can actually get a deposition prior to trial and know what they're going to say before they're on the stand. For him, everything was a revelation. It's like every question he asked was new information to him. I'm not sure where you're going with that one. I'm not going to read that one out loud. Bob Murray says, I don't want that mother to get a penny. Which mom are we talking about? Debbie says, Recovery Addict, wanted to thank you for leaving the live stream chat up. I'm trying. I don't have any control over that. There's a point where I have to say I close down my browser, right? And I don't know what happens or how that lines up. I do like to have everyone be able to finish their conversation. I hate to say, okay, guys, I got to go, see you, and then everyone be cut off mid-conversation. So I'm trying to find that little balance point. But I do want to leave these up afterwards. I will tell you, I'll give you an update. I do want to be able to do this more full-time, really. I'd love to be able to do this full-time. I enjoy so much these conversations and talking with you guys and everything. And in doing that, it would require me to monetize the channel, which I'm not monetized right now. And so I tried to go through the process of that. And because you guys are so incredible, literally every benchmark that you need to hit on a YouTube channel to become monetized, I hit within one day because of you guys. And it exploded. Really, there's no other word to say that. It exploded. But I had posted a video previously that I also shared on my TikTok page. It's a video I shot of a little science experiment with the little chain that jumps out of a cup. It's a little cool little video. And because I posted that video, when I went to YouTube to see if I could be monetized, they said, no, you're using content that you shared on another social media platform, so you don't qualify. So you have to wait a month. So I have to wait a month before I can ask them again if the channel's able to be monetized because of that little video, which I own, which I shot in my kitchen with my phone, and so that's just a little update. But I forgot why we went there, or why I went there with you guys. But Matthew Harris says, with a civil judgment, they could even collect from his prison wages and commissary fund. Oh my goodness. What would he spend his money on there? Like paper and pencils? Because everything he needs to survive is pretty much provided at the taxpayer's expense. But yeah, they could, the little money they would get, because there's no minimum wage in prison. He's not going to be earning a living wage. He's not going to get the $15 an hour or anything else. It'll be pennies per hour. Let's see. Debbie says he flipped back to his evil self pretty quick. Yep. Barb, I don't. You say his mother's just as bad. I think you're talking about DB's mom, and I'm sure we could all point to things that she did wrong or could have done better. But I'll tell you that his mom didn't drive through that crowd. His mom didn't do the things that DB did. So I don't agree. I don't agree that she's just as bad. She might have enabled him in ways that weren't helpful, that basically allowed him to become the way he is. But I can't fault her for that. I can't stand in her shoes and tell her what she should have done. Kelly G, you and me both, standing there saying he's made his peace with God, and it's like how can you stand there? Because here's the thing, he's professing to be a Christian. Basically, he's reading the Bible. He's talking about how he was raised on these principles, and some of those principles that are core tenets of the faith are principles of forgiveness, right? The Christian belief is that we as people can be forgiven for the things we do wrong because of Jesus Christ. Through his atonement, we can be forgiven for our wrongs. And then there's that the companion idea that so we should forgive other people of their wrongs. How do you justify that teaching with the idea that that he seemed to present that he could be forgiven or make his peace, or without ever apologizing for what he had done wrong? Because there was no apology. So I don't know, that his understanding of the Christian tenets just seems a little different than what I understand. What about the Courtney Clenny trial in December? The Instagram model allegedly killing her boyfriend in self-defense. Is this the Instagram model or the OnlyFans girl? We've got a couple like that. It might be the same person if we're thinking about it. Might be able to do that one. We'll see. That's coming up. Anne says Matthew didn't know that we could attach that, so maybe there would be some ongoing money because he might have to work while in prison. Ann Kirk says, Caitlin Armstrong trial coming up soon. Caitlin Armstrong, Ann, tell me a little bit about that. What about that case intrigues you? I'll add it to my list of homework today as I do some reading. Okay. I didn't see a response there. Maybe it takes just a second. Angie, I also believe that there's a final judgment where people who get away with stuff have to pay in the end. So I have a similar core belief on that. One could read the Bible, however, it's another thing living it. Yep, that is very much true. That's the challenge, right? Erica had a no contact order before November 21st. Gary, what's that in reference to? Are you saying that should have been brought up in court because what I'm asking is, are you saying that Mr. Brooks was right to bring up her contact with him because it happened prior to the 21st? I still don't see how that contact would really be pertinent or relevant at all for his defense. I don't think the judge thought of that either. There was no offer of proof in that area when she asked for it. I've seen him in protests in front of the Milwaukee County Jail. Barb, who's that? Who's Barb? Or I know who Barb is, but who was protesting in front of the county jail? Kendra says, I don't think he'll have anyone speaking for him when the impact statements happen. His mom said he deserved prison time. Yeah, I believe, and maybe Matthew can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he'll have a chance to say something, right? I believe he'll have an opportunity. I'm not sure if anyone wants to hear it, but yeah, Jamie, Bible is basic moral code, and really it's sort of the basis for a lot of our laws. They sort of go hand in hand with the basic moral code that's in the Bible. Lindsay says, I agree about DB, Mom. I would do anything for my kiddos. Hopefully they take my kindness and do good, but there are lots of kids like the rich kid that his attorney got him off. Yep. Barb, okay, I see where you're coming. I believe she may have some responsibility for his behavior, his total outcome, the big picture, but I don't think she's individually liable, like from a liability standpoint for what he did. Although legally she might be held liable because she was the car owner and she gave him permission. So there might be a legal liability, but I don't think there's like a moral liability for that exact action. If that makes sense. It's just I think there's a little bit of a disconnect there. May, thank you for asking the question. Yes, we are going to cover the Sarah Boone trial, but there was been a development that happened yesterday. Sarah's lawyer, Mr. Bankowitz, first of all, we found out that he's had a couple complaints of not being very responsive, and two, not paying taxes. He's settled both of those. But if you look on his profile on the Florida Bar page, you can see those. We know that Sarah has accused him of not being very responsive, but yesterday he filed a motion of continuance, which is basically asking the judge to delay the trial. It's been like 2 years already. She's been sitting in jail. She did waive her rights to a speedy trial. So that we're not up against that. It's not like she's going to say, hey, you haven't brought me to trial. You have to free me because I didn't get a speedy trial. But and she's the one asking for it. Technically, it's her side. Joe Allen says, because DB has been convicted, will he be fully shackled? Also, please do not follow a trial involving children. I hear you there, Joe Allen. There's a line we want to walk, and I think if you've been here much, you know that there's a level of respect and decency that we want to be able to talk about things and at the same time be respectful. So I hear you. I'm trying to walk that line very carefully. Yes, DB will have a chance to beg for mercy and offer any mitigation evidence. Right. This is his last straw. Right. And so help me, if he stands up there and says subject matter jurisdiction, I think the judge is just going to be like, that's it, maximum. The guy sitting behind DB during the trial. Who is this? Barb. Barb, who are you talking about? The guy behind him. I'll have to look at that. I think all the individuals we saw behind DB were just citizens that were assigned a seat. Every time every time the jury left and Mr. Brooks was taken to the other courtroom, the courtroom was cleared before he was moved. Probably for safety reasons, because at one point they have to disconnect him from the anchor that he's shackled to move him. So they don't want him to be able to injure anybody if he happens to get away or escape during that process. So the courtroom has to be cleared every single time. Well, when he comes back, the courtroom's, the people file back in and have a seat. So the people behind, I don't think they were sitting like they do on, like sides for football. You sit on the side with your team or something. I don't think it was like that. Debbie, I don't agree with his mom, but I don't think she's the reason Brooks did that. This was all on Darrell Brooks. I agree. Mr. Upper Torso says, Brooke was convicted in under a year after the tragedy happened. That's a real speedy conviction to use as a reference. Normally it takes years. It does, but maybe, Matthew, if you can answer this, if you're still here, one more question for you today. You've been amazing so far. If a defendant specifically invokes their right for a speedy trial, is there a time frame that falls in? Is like a 90 days type thing? Because, there's a lot of evidence to gather. There's a lot of things to process. How soon can someone say, I want the fastest trial possible? When would that happen? And it may differ from state to state and jurisdiction. Barb, I understand, but that's hindsight, right? Hindsight's 2020. How can we? It's hard to say. When I make a mistake, or if I crash my car, on the way to the store or something, I can look back and say, if I had just stayed at home for 2 more minutes, that truck would have been in the intersection. The light timing would be different. It's different. Matthew Harris, thank you so much. Good luck today. Hope you win whatever motion or trial you're doing today. You've been amazing. Look forward to having you here in the future. Please, everyone, go ahead, click on his name, give his follow a link. If one of the other mods can put his channel in chat, that would be awesome. But Matthew's just been amazing support. We've had him on the phone here during as we were going live right after the verdicts were read. Just got some great insight that really helps to clarify some things, because some of these are complicated subjects. Never heard there was a time limit, said Baroness Fahrenheit. Well, I'm not sure if that's what I'm getting. I'm not sure if there's a time limit or what the rule is. When can a defendant say, I didn't get my speedy trial? Because everyone has the right to a speedy trial, right? And that's guaranteed. But at what point can they say, yes, I got it, or no, I didn't? There's got to be a line, right? Barbara's probably referring to the large African-American gentleman that was seated behind Brooks on several different days. I don't know who it was. It may have just been somebody interested. Debbie says, I believe they were referring to the man that seemed to be recording on his cell phone. The judge noticed it, and a bailiff had a bailiff get him to stop. I'll have to look at that. I did not see that. I wasn't paying that close attention to the people behind. DB kept vacillating between complaining about being denied a speedy trial and asking for continuances to have things appealed to other courts or prepare. Right? That was his story. He's like, I've only got 3 days to prepare. Right? Well, no, you fired your lawyers 3 days before trial. The preparation's gone on. You just now have their notes. The judge wouldn't let him delay. When he fired his lawyers, that's what she said. She said, look, this trial will proceed on Monday. We're starting on Monday. So either it's them representing you or it's you, but that's when we start. And he wasn't a big fan of that, but he was fully informed. Roxanne, thank you. Have a good weekend. We will see you guys on Monday. Roxanne, welcome. Not welcome, but goodbye. Welcome and goodbye. We'll see you on Monday. You've been amazing. Hope you have a great, restful weekend. The guy was at the, let's see. The guy was at the jail in Milwaukee County a sit-in protest several times. Okay, so it was a protester type thing, and he made it into the courtroom. I wonder if people position themselves in a manner so that they would be in the seat behind DB or behind the prosecution to try to get seen. The prosecution angle, we really only saw the court photographer, the suit dude who was there all the time. I guess he was the lead investigator, and that. Church, you say it for the rest of us. Yes, thank you very much, Roxanne. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. That's where we're going to go today. I think we've all got our homework. I've got a lot of things to read. I've got a lot of things to research before Monday. Monday is the court case. I'll be on Monday morning first. We'll talk about what's going to happen Monday. We know that Judge Darrow's going to be back, looking great as always, and we're going to find out more details about the impact statements and the victim statements. We may even find out the time frame for scheduling for his sentencing. So that's going to be great information to have. That'll sort of help us plan out the rest of the week. But I plan to be on about this time for about an hour or so every morning, and then we'll be on Monday for sure during the statements. If those are televised live, we're gonna be here as well. I'll share those with you as well. That's where I was going with the whole monetization talk before. The train of thought came back to me. I will be removing some videos, some of the older videos about DB. I really did a really poor job of providing insightful and accurate thumbnails and descriptions on some of our earlier videos. I'm trying to do a better job here so it's easier for you to go back and watch replays, but I'm going to be removing a lot of those. And I just wanted to let you know. So if there's anything you wanted out of there, or any chat you wanted to check or rewatch, go ahead and do that. But before, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to clear out a lot of those earlier videos, and I promise to try to do a better job of keeping it organized for you here in the future. Lori says, "Gotta run. Love y'all. Love you, Lori. Thank you. Big hug." Debbie says, "Do you have any way to check on Leanna?" I think she's all right. I will. I'll try to contact her. I think she's contacted me through another method. Several of you have followed me on TikTok or Twitter or Facebook, and those are easier to communicate on than through YouTube, obviously. So if you do want to get a hold of me or have a question or a suggestion or anything like that, go ahead and go to my channel page on YouTube, and in the banner, there's like a big fall picture of trees I took up in the mountains, but in the corner of that banner, there's little links to my YouTube. There's also my LinkedIn, or not my LinkedIn, but my link tree, where I've got a couple links to some things from some other videos. And so feel free to browse through there and connect any way that's possible. May, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. You guys have a great weekend. One question for you. I used different music today. I'm going to play it again as we go out, but I'm trying to find music that fits better for what we're doing. And so we don't really want like sports music in the background. But let me know what you think of this audio. I'm sort of limited on what I can use because it's expensive to buy really cool sounding songs. But I'll play this one here in the background, and let me know if that's the vibe you like or if it works. So appreciate it. Lori says, "Nah, you did great." Wonderful. Will she let him have it, or will she get rid of him as soon as possible? I think she's going to go through the process properly and professionally. You're going to see from Judge Doro the same level of professionalism that you've seen all along, and she's going to go through the process meticulously and properly. But I think at the end, there will be a point where you hear her very clearly share her opinion, her impression, a summation of the proceedings, and just why she is sentencing to what she does. And I believe when she does that sentence will be 1,231 years in prison. Holy Unaware says, "Love your channel. Great ability to describe and discuss laws in layman's terms." Holy, I have a great group of people here in the community who have great information. And sorry, that I get a lot of help from you guys. This is not all me. I've got some very smart people, some people who've done just a ton of work, a ton of research, and I'm really just drawing on what you have and sharing that, and it's amazing. Lori says, "Hey Scott, I tried to find you on Facebook, no find. If you search Recovery Addict Metal Detecting, it's easier to find me. And my little logo, my little avatar, should be identical to what it is here. So let me see if I can make it. So I'm going to pop up on screen here. Say, this is me. See my little picture? That's my metal detector. I'm holding a ring. That's what you're looking for on Facebook as well. But there might be a link on that on my channel page. So try that. Okay. Anyway, guys, was the music good? That was the whole song. I kept it sort of quiet in the background. Does it work? Group hug, says Debbie. Thank you. We'll go with that music until we hear differently. It's not too distracting. I don't think it, Oh, here we go. Paula gives us a thumbs up for the music. Dallas gives us a thumbs up. Wonderful. That might be what we go with on Monday. But you guys, I'm going to take the rest of the day off here, unless something crazy happens, which I don't think it will, because court is not in session today. It's going to be a good day. We're going to get some stuff done. I'm going to get some stuff done around the house, inside the house, outside the house. Going to hang out with the kids. Barb Murray, yeah, that comment that he yelled out. We all heard it. You can go back and find it. Anyway, we're going to do that. You guys are amazing. Have yourselves a great day. I appreciate so much that you guys are part of this community. I love it. I really do. It's not lost on me that there's a million other places or a billion other places you could be on the internet today. And the fact that you chose to spend it here with me and with us it means a lot. So thank you very much. You guys have a great day. We'll see you on Monday about roughly 9 a.m. Give me a little leeway. I'm still a little rough on my timing. Dennis here. Denise Sopatch33 says, Recovery Addict, just a question. Are you a lawyer or a paralegal? I'm a junkie. That's what I am. I'm a crime law junkie. I've been studying this sort of stuff since I was a kid. Literally, in 7th grade, I was going through the statutes on the rules of what schools have to comply with for a classroom, to have a classroom environment that you can compel attendance for. I've done this from the get-go. It was probably my calling, my profession to be a lawyer, but I went another route, and that involved video and stuff like that, and that's sort of how I'm here. But Denise, we do have actual lawyers that we'll bring on. Matthew Harris specifically, we're going to bring him on to give a legal analysis and reaction to some stuff as well. But really, I'm just like you in a lot of ways. Just have a little too much time on my hands to research the law. Thank you, and have a great day. We'll end it on this one, Barb. I think that says it best. Appreciate that comment. Appreciate all you guys, and we'll catch you on Monday about 9 a.m. Eastern.